And I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up.
KBLA Talk 1580. You know you're always welcome here. We are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming on Instagram, and we are on the old-fashioned radio, terrestrial radio. We're also available. We have an app. You can listen on the app anytime it strikes your fancy. And I'm happy to welcome into the space right now an organizer out of Mississippi. He is one of the people responsible for bringing the Goon Squad to the national attention through his organizing work there on the ground through Building Bridges, his organization. Marquell Bridges, good morning.
Good morning.
So I don't even really know where to start. I know you are constantly organizing, and you're well aware, as I've said, that since 2020, the number of Black people killed by police increases every year. But this particular case seems even worse, if that's possible, than so many that we have encountered before. Talk to me about baby Kohen Wiley.
It's always, Mr. Prima, it's always the ones who have this special light. Doing this organizing work, Kohen was the light of his family. I instantly connected with both his maternal and paternal grandparents, and the way they loved him, the way they described him. His maternal grandmother, Veronica Robinson, described as, she had just lost her mother, and Kohen was the one thing that was keeping her together and bringing her back to a healthy space, a healthy mental space after losing her mother. And then the grandfather was just so distraught about the legacy, the never being able to take him fishing, to ride four-wheelers, just the legacy he had planned, and the father and mother had planned on instilling in Kohen. He was just the hope for his family, the light, the smile, the energy.
I mean, you can
dad
see
and
it because
mom.
there's a million pictures of him. I mean, he's only one, and there are so many pictures of this little baby in the cutest little outfits, doing all kinds of cute little things. Clearly, so well loved by his family.
Yes, and to be stolen in the way that he was, they're broken. The community is broken. The community is up in arms for a lot of reasons. Senatobia has a long racial and brutal history of them disparaging, disproportionately locking up, arresting, brutalizing, and killing black people. In this same very Walmart, just in 2025, they beat a 65-year-old black woman and tased her for doing nothing more than dropping her mother off and sitting in a handicapped parking spot. This is the same town, same city that a young black boy, a 10-year-old, had to use the bathroom really bad, jumped out on side of his mom's truck, and they took him to jail for that. This is the same town when six black boys crossed over a white man's lawn. All 6 of those was kidnapped by the state, arrested, and their parents didn't even know where they were. Just brutality after brutality. And a guy, the local organizer there, has been warning the board that it was going to elevate to this point. And it's just tragic that it had to elevate into killing a 1-year-old baby. They've shown us in South Carolina that the price of a 14-year-old black boy's life is a bottle of water. And they're showing us in Senatobia, Mississippi, that to them, not to us, but to them, the price of a black baby's life is paid for a pack of Pampers.
Well,
alleged.
right. I mean, when I saw that, I mean, you know, I'm a mom, so it just makes me so rageful. I have to pray my way out of the house to be able to leave the house. Because to me, it says you don't see us as human. There's no way that an armed person shoots into a car with a 1-year-old baby if they think that is a human baby.
And this is the most telling part and just horrific part. The police officers there, the sheriff department and Senatobia PD, who's actually responsible for the shooting, were both on the scene for another call unrelated to this incident. And every last one of the officers said they seen 2 women and a baby. So that they had prior, it's one thing to not even know the baby was in the car, but to have prior knowledge that this is the report that's gone out. Everybody knows that this child is present. You can physically see the child for yourself as a law enforcement officer, and you still choose to shoot in that car.
I mean,
knowing that these people are unarmed.
I saw a video yesterday of what appeared to be the mama and her attorney sitting in a car, and he asked her to tell what happened. I wasn't sure, everyone was criticizing it because why, they're saying they're armchair lawyering and saying she shouldn't be speaking out. And they were mad because she wasn't crying, which made me want to punch people because you don't know how this mother is processing this. She's probably in shock.
Yes.
But
that wasn't her attorney. That was that should have never happened. But in retrospect, I'm glad it did. So the truth can come out that she didn't steal anything and she was trying to protect her child.
Okay, I think he identified himself as an attorney or her attorney in the tape that I saw. So whoever it was, she was speaking. And you say that never should have happened because you think it endangers the case. I thought, well, maybe they're trying to get ahead of this, like the Carmelo Anthony situation, where there are so many lies being told. Maybe they're trying to get ahead of it. I don't know what the strategy was, but it was, terrible. Just the story that she shared.
Yes. So the reason I said it never should have happened, I mean, without her attorneys. That was some news anchor from ABC News Memphis. And that's like late night. I don't know how he got in touch with her or whatever. But it's okay. The reason I say I'm glad it did is for exactly why you address when you're telling the truth and she's able to clear up everything that was said. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
done, and the truth was out there.
she says that she had her baby and she held him up in hopes that the police would see there's a baby here. And
Yeah, she was trying to show him that it was a baby in the car.
right,
which
so
they already knew.
Which they already knew, but I was just kind of seconding what you said. Not only did they already have that knowledge, she says she held the baby up because she was trusting that the police would see, oh, it's just a baby and a mama and a friend who's another woman, and back off. And she said it sounded like they immediately were shooting, or they were shooting as the baby was being held up and brought back down to her lap.
Yes, and we didn't know at the time, but we know now. The baby was hit on the first shot. Every shot this officer hit who he was trying to hit. He killed the baby first. So why, if you're trying to disable a car, why are you shooting at the passenger side? So none of their narratives make sense. It's all lies. Which we know his racial history and his brutality history and his different complaints within the department now.
I actually have not heard that. Talk to me about his racial history.
So he has formal complaints, not from average citizens. He has formal complaints from other officers within the Senatobia Police Department that we have visually seen with our own eyes of him using racial slurs in the precinct. He was fired from DeSoto County for brutalizing black people. He put the dog on a guy's neck while he was handcuffed. And people of all colors and creeds have been just posting about how rotting and corrupt that Hunter Foster is. So he's a racist. He wanted to kill this racist baby. There was probably 20 officers, 15 to 20 officers out there, and he's the only one who desired to shoot at a black baby.
How racist do you have to be to actually get complaints from other officers for racial slurs in a police department in Mississippi? Let that sink in. Marquell Bridges is our guest. Thank you for joining us. I got a lot of questions. I know the KBLA delegation has questions. If you do, 800-920-1580. We're talking about the murder of Kohen Wiley by Mississippi police, most notably Hunter Foster, the trigger man. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man.
This Father's Day, skip the tie and find something at Target he'll really love. Is he into a fresh look? Don't miss 40% off Goodfellow polos and shorts so he can give that one shirt a break. Maybe he's in chill mode. Buy 2, get 1 free on music and books. Perfect for a night in, his way. Or go with a men's fragrance from $29.99. The kind he didn't know he needed and won't stop wearing. Make Dad's Day. Only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
We're talking with Marquell Bridges, who is a community organizer there in Mississippi, has been for quite some time, and is organizing around the terrible, terrible shooting of 1-year-old Kohen Wiley, fatal shooting by Mississippi police in Senatobia, parking lot of a Walmart. I saw on your page, Marquell, that there was a lot of, not just a lot of protests going on, but also an empty parking lot at that Walmart. Talk to me about the boycott and the pushback.
So we gave them an opportunity. We went down as a community to the city hall just to have the mayor, the commissioner, the public safety commissioner was there to lie to us and tell us that they weren't able or didn't have the power to fire without pay or put on leave without pay this racist officer, this baby killer. So after they told us all those lies, we decided and organized an impromptu protest to show power, black unity, black organization, and shut down the Walmart to attack their economic power. And that's what we did. It was actually great and brilliant organizing on the fly because not one single person, hundreds of people, not one single person was arrested. Not one single protester was arrested. Not one single person or protester was harmed or never did anything but remain peaceful. They conducted themselves really, really well, even though with all the rage and emotion, I have to give it to the people in the community of Senatobia. They listened, and we were able to effectively shut down the Walmart from about 6:30 until like 9 the next day, closed for business. And the police are the only people who became violent. They tear gas peaceful protesters for no reason. And what is the call? Is the call to try to continue to shut down that Walmart? Or what is the call to action on an ongoing basis right now? What are the demands of the family? The demands of the family are real simple, cut and dry. So we're definitely, and we understand that this is a tall order, and I never like giving out problems without giving solutions. So I really wish our black, successful, and wealthy will get together and give us our own grocery store chain so we can have other places to send our people for times like this when we're not totally dependent on other races and other groups to support us or for the things we need, not support us. But it is definitely a boycott call for Walmart. We understand that's a tall order. Our focus is shutting down on that particular Walmart where it happened at, which is very doable, but impacting them economically, the city of Senatobia and all across the country, because Walmart has the tapes. So everyone always asks that question in the comments, why are y'all at Walmart? Well, we went to the city council meeting and to the city to address their police force, who's employed by them and by taxpayers to release the video. And when they didn't cooperate, we went to the second person who has a copy of the video and probably better angles than the police, all the cameras at Walmart, to see if they would release it. And of course, we know both deny this. But after the demonstration, the direct action at Walmart, they then turned around and placed Hunter Foster on leave without pay. So he was still working as a racist baby killer up until we did that action at Walmart.
That's insane. I'm sorry, had that been a baby of any other race that they considered to be human, that officer would have been immediately been put on leave, especially with that history that you're talking about of complaints and dismissal from a different department, a different police department. So now he's on unpaid administrative leave, and I'm sure they're saying there's an investigation, but still no tapes.
Still no tape, a bunch of accusations and propaganda from the other side. That's why actually, as much as I hate it, and it goes against every organizing bone in my body to have someone speak without their attorney, and I definitely talked to Ms. Punkin about the dangers of that. Not like you saying anything wrong or lying, but the dangers of just how they try to entrap you and use your words against you in prior statements. But I'm happy she told it so people know the truth and understand that this is just wrong. He just killed this baby. We seen it. Even after she tried to show him, like, hey, my baby in the car, don't shoot. He still chose to kill the baby and shoot Latoya Fleming, who's in the hospital fighting for her life, and God forbid, but the bullet in her stomach, she may be paralyzed because it hit her spine. And her bravery and her courage is not being talked about enough because she still was able to drive the baby and her friend and herself to the hospital after 4 gunshot wounds. One paralyzing the whole time, talking about she couldn't feel her legs. So they were never fleeing. They were fleeing from being killed by police, but the only place they were fleeing to was to accurate authorities and someone who could save their lives. Right. They were fleeing to the hospital.
Wow.
So they wasn't fleeing. They was trying to get to emergency help because this officer just recklessly and with a total abuse of force and negligence shot in this car knowing the baby was in there.
Every police department that I know of has a policy against shooting into cars. Moving cars with known criminals. You're not supposed to just shoot into a car. Like, that's out of policy. Number one.
Yes.
I mean, has that been discussed at all? I haven't heard much about that.
So the man's this just happened Sunday.
Right.
So I drove 5.5 hours to get there as soon as I see it. For one, Mississippi is home there, even though I don't live there now. It's home for me. But I just have a special affinity for black children, black babies, that there's a clear line and stance. I feel oftentimes like we don't stand up enough for black women and black men when they're murdered, but you have to draw the line at them killing your kids. You have some sort of line in the sand has to be drawn. Like, we're totally not going to accept any of it, but not this particular. If there's anything innocent in this world, it's a baby. So.
Yeah, and what a beautiful baby. I mean, not all babies are precious, but this little child, who I've never, ever met, obviously, was just a light. You could see the joy coming out of his pores. Just the most beautiful little baby. Sorry, I digress.
You're fine. I got a little bit off topic, just expressing myself, but the family's demands are really simple. First, release body-worn camera. They're very specific, and they're very specific for a reason, because we know how they like to play games. The police like to play games. Release the body-worn camera and dash cam video and audio. We want to know what Hunter Foster and these other officers was communicating leading up to this point, if they had intentions of killing someone. Release the Walmart cameras, every angle that shows the shooting before and after as well, just like the body cam leading up. Release the store footage camera showing what these 2 young ladies was doing in the store, since you want to make these allegations against them, these false allegations, by the word of the mother. We want audio and transcript of this alleged 911 call? Did that call come from inside Walmart? Did that call even happen, or is this just more police lies and police narrative to justify killing a black baby? You know, these are all questions they can answer. And, of course, we want the firing, termination, decertification, arrest, indicted, and conviction of Hunter Foster for killing baby Kohen Wiley, a 1-year-old baby, and shooting and possibly she's fighting for her life, but forever changing and scarring Latoya Fleming for a misdemeanor as they were unarmed.
An alleged misdemeanor. And one thing the mom said, because there's been no charges filed, no charges against the mother, right? No charges against her friend, right? Latoya Fleming, no charges against anybody. And it was widely reported that it was her aunt, but I believe it's her friend, right?
It's her friend. You're correct. It's her friend. You're correct on there's no charges. The police are just throwing around allegations, but there's been no official charges against either the mother, Latoya, the driver, or anyone else.
And the mom states in that video that, look on the store video, you can see us doing self-checkout. But and I only have a minute. We'll address it on the other side. I only have a minute before news, traffic, and sports. But this really enrages me too, Marquell, because I feel like the fact that we have to say, and she didn't even steal the diapers, is stupid. Because what it says is that if they did steal the diapers, it was okay to murder the baby, which I do not sign off on in any way, shape, or form. And even if she did steal the diapers, like that was the only way to recover them was to shoot the baby. You know, you got license plate readers and surveillance, and you know what I mean, and probably the swipe of her card. And there's a million ways if you really wanted to recover your, $10 of profit.
Exactly. And Mr. Prima, we just watched white privilege and white supremacy justify Austin Metcalf physically assaulting Carmelo Anthony, and they disregarded his actions, and that's a misdemeanor. They disregarded misdemeanor assault and said a black baby needs to go to jail for his response. So I don't really want to hear nothing from these people in that regard, because I know it's prejudice and bias on what they choose to justify and agree with. This should have never happened, period. I don't care. I know they didn't. I believe the mother. I believe, and I'm waiting on the store cameras. Just show us.
Yep.
But I don't care even from me. The baby should have never died, period. You should have never shot into that car. It's okay for you to, if they shoplifted, arrest them, but the situation was handled totally wrong.
The fact that we even have to say that is the whole problem. Marquell Bridges is my guest. We'll continue the conversation after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
You can't fix what you won't face.
And we face it every day.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. Kelly Bryant in Michigan has been found competent to stand trial on 3 child abuse charges after police found 3 children living alone in filth in February of 2025. A judge agreed with the psychiatric's findings that Bryant, a black woman, is competent.
We'll see you Monday, August 24th for trial.
The Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates alone. It's the 4th straight time the Fed has kept rates steady. The decision marks the first with new Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh. President Trump is set to award the Medal of Honor. Major James Capers Jr. led his team through a deadly ambush in South Vietnam in 1967. Injured and bleeding, Capers got his 9-man team to a helicopter for evacuation after 4 days and nights of fighting. Get BIN News Now on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for two to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
New York Knicks owner James Dolan said his team has been invited to the White House by Trump to celebrate the Knicks NBA championship. Dolan and Trump have been friends for more than 30 years. No date has been confirmed for the Knicks' White House appearance. The more important question is, will Knicks players go with Dolan to the White House? There has been a lot of animosity between NBA players and Trump during his 2 terms as president. The last 5 NBA teams that won the championship while Trump was in office declined his invitation to come to the White House. The Golden State Warriors said no in 2017 and 2018. The Toronto Raptors said no in 2019. The Lakers declined in 2020. The Oklahoma City Thunder said no after winning last year's title. It will be interesting to see how Knicks players react if Dolan, who signs their paychecks, insists that they come with him to the White House. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This isn't a talk show.
It's a town hall with no walls.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like nuclear reactor safety expert.
I disabled the backup cooling system. It was making such an annoying noise. You heard it, right? It was like,
We're on a countdown to core failure.
And you're saying we don't want that?
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Let's do this.
We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your health care, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen. A lot will change. But one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So, we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, Black and white, corporate and independent. look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw. Year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
We're talking with Marquell Bridges, talking about baby Kohen Wiley, who was murdered by a Mississippi cop. Marquell, I know you worked for years with Black Lives Matter Grassroots. I know you have your own organization, Building Bridges. Tell us how to follow you and how to find out about the work that you're doing. I know, for example, with Carmelo Anthony, we have the website freecarmelo.net. That's Carmelo with a K, so that folks can get accurate information. And I want to make sure that people know how to find true information regarding baby Kohen, because the lies, the dis and misinformation, the influencers who don't know what they're talking about or who simply make stuff up for clicks are loud.
Thank you for that. It is Marquell Bridges on all platforms, MarquellBridges, on all platforms for continued information. And thank you for that.
Yeah, it's really, I think, in a way, we were talking about how with these mounting murders of young children, of black boys, that Cyrus and the jailing of Carmelo and the murder of baby Kohen, it's feeling like this just one thing after another. It's giving the pressure of a 2020, but I feel like it's a much more challenging media environment because there are so many more influencers that have real big followings that don't know what they're talking about, that are immediately posting about these things. The police and the right, the conservatives, the people that don't love justice have gotten a lot louder and a lot more tricky on social media and slick about the way that they shift blame onto families. They've always done it, but the demonization of these children and their families, we see it on steroids with the case of Carmelo Anthony. And I want us to learn. We have to learn right now, because if this continues, which I looking at the trend line, I don't see it stopping. We are going to need to make sure that we are tapped in to accurate information.
Exactly. That's why we created through the field report, through Melanie Marie out of St. Louis, that's accurately covering all those brothers and sisters that's on the ground in different cases. I totally agree with you. And not just, she often speaks to me about digital warfare that our people are believing behind, and that's what you're discussing and bringing to the forefront of people's mind, is that these people have launched a digital campaign, digital racism, where they're pushing these narratives, and these narratives, just like with the Carmelo Anthony trial or Cyrus Kwame Belton, can become so loud that people ignore the facts, of the case based off just what they heard off of these digital platforms,
right? Or
these narratives being pushed.
Right, or they think they know the facts, and then what they know is actually wrong,
Yes.
So I had read, speaking of things that are wrong, that the family of baby Kohen Wiley, had asked people to stop posting his picture. Is that right?
No, that has not came from the family at all, to my knowledge. And I'll explain who I'm contacted with. That's mother, father, maternal grandmother, paternal grandfather. Both sides of the family, they're working as a cohesive unit. They're unified. They're organized. The city of Senatobia, one good thing that came out of this that it showed me is they're ready. They're ready for change. They're willing. And my goal is just to help them get organized and show them how. But they're ready. They're tired. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're not afraid. They just got to get organized and unified.
I understand that, in the case of Carmelo Anthony, a lot of people were critical of the attorney and the way that the case was mounted. And they, and Black Lives Matter Grassroots was on the ground there every single day at the trial, and the racists were on the ground there every single day at the trial. A lot of mis and disinformation. I understand they're still searching for an appellate lawyer, even though they filed intention to appeal. What I'm reading is that the family of Kohen Wiley has retained Ben Crump.
Yes, that is correct. That happened while I was on the ground, and we're just gearing up for the funeral and for the fight.
What about fundraisers? Again, with Anthony, the Give, Send, Go took all that money away. I was wrong yesterday. I thought they had withdrawn some of the money, but no. Every penny of it was given back to the donors, and as of now, that family is only getting private donations through their own cash apps or whatever. Is there any fundraiser taking place for the family of baby Kohen? They have to bury this child. They're going to have, they're going to have all kinds of legal expenses.
I'm glad you brought this up because there's been a lot of false narratives. This family hasn't even set up a GoFundMe, which, of course, in the organizing space, I encourage them to. Me as an organizer, I don't take up any funds for families. That can get messy. I don't take up any donation or like that. What I do is I direct people to the families, whatever they set up. But
right.
They haven't even set anything up. So this notion of they're just after some money, or that's totally false. They're handling all this themselves. Community members have stepped up. Several community members have offered to pledge to take care of the funeral expenses, but the family hasn't even accepted that. They love this. They love this baby. They want to do this right, and they care. So when you care like that, oftentimes I've met families that, even though it's offered, they want to pay themselves.
Yeah,
because it was their baby. But they're going to need funds to continue this fight. This is a long road. If you've never been in this fight, I'll give you a brief synopsis. Best case is 2 years. 2 years later, you get your day in court. They try to stretch you out right there before your statute of limitations to file civilly. So it's just an ongoing fight, and the resources is to fly people in, to buy rooms, to bring family members in, to buy posters, to buy signs, to drive and gas and show up to all these places, all these things that you have bright ideas and you're going to be telling and encouraging the family to do. All of those things cost money. What I went down there and did this weekend, all of that costs money out of my own pocket to make that happen and to take time off work to do that. So understand why the family needs the money to fight, not to just go parlay or party. They need it to pursue justice.
It's a really great point.
An attorney, and even if the attorney that comes in and say, "Oh, well, we'll represent you initially pro bono," they get paid. Ben Crump is going to get paid in the end. So everything that they need costs money.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, too, because that's part of the smear campaign against Mr. Anthony. Oh, they just want money. I mean, even the Metcalf father was saying that on his live. Well, they haven't got any money because Give, Send, Go took it. And also, there's all these expenses, including they had to relocate their whole family because they're getting death threats. You don't, and I don't care how terrible a family is. There's no family in the world, no black family, that would trade their kid for some money in a GoFundMe. That's a ridiculous and stupid talking point.
And Mr. Prim, I'm glad you brought that up because people wasn't looking at, and somebody brought this up to me the other day. They said, did you see the standard of living for Carmelo and his parents before all of this? and they wasn't poor black people. They had just bought him a new Jeep for his 16th birthday. They were living comfortably. So you hear for an average person living in poverty, you hear 600,000 or whatever it was, and you like, these people have made it. This might be their bills. So all of that comes into play when you're talking about these situations. But they were well-off black people that had to uproot their life to protect their child, and they made the right decision in doing so. Lost their jobs, income stopped. Just the overwhelming nature of this fight when you're supposed to be grieving or processing. Now you have to turn around and become a justice warrior, a lawyer, or organizer, all the things to try to achieve justice and just some sort of transparency from the people who's supposed to give it. And nobody looks at that. What do you do when the people who you go to for answers are the ones who committed the murder, and they're not telling you nothing? They're not turning nothing over to your lawyers. They're stalling you out. They're putting out propaganda and lies about you and your family. How do you navigate that process, and how do you fight that system to achieve accountability, transparency, and equal justice?
Yeah. And that is it, because why would they not want to put out that body cam footage if it justified them? Why would they not put out the Walmart footage? Because they know it shows the woman paying for the diapers. They know it shows a loving mama and her friend that are just customers being murdered in a parking lot for no reason. But to me, this idea, the reason that another reason it makes me angry that that everyone keeps saying, and they didn't even steal the diapers, and he didn't even steal the water, because there's the implication that, one, they would be justified in being murdered if they did steal the water or the diapers, and two, because it is meant to paint these black people as dishonest thieves, not worthy of life, which is the general stereotype of us anyway. So these little signals, these dog whistles and dog sirens, they do it not just because of the criminal aspect. They do it because they want to trigger the images in your mind and in potential jurors' minds that our lives are not worthy of accountability.
Totally. Already criminalize them before they even have their day in court. For privileged people, those who lack melanin, they're innocent until proven guilty. Huh. We're guilty until proven innocent.
And even when we're proven innocent, a lot of time we're still guilty. Marquell, what do you say to people who are critical of Kohen's mama because she wasn't crying in that video?
So I'll do my best to explain like 20 seconds as fast as possible. I know we're on the radio. When the people that supposed to protect you kill your loved one, kill your child, kill your mother, fathers, brothers, sisters, uncles, dads, there is something called blinding grief. It's the only time I see this happen. And I've dealt with some terrible situations, been involved with some terrible cases of all kind of dramatic, traumatic things that has happened to people in life, even my own personal life. But there's nothing like when the police kill your loved one and being left with no answers. These families honestly don't know up from down, right from left. And that's why it's so activist and organized, righteous brothers and sisters, men and women of the community that has no intention and no agenda but justice, truth, transparency is so important to surround themselves with, because they don't know. And also, you got to think, they wasn't even allowed to see Kohen's body. She wasn't even allowed, father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, they wasn't even allowed to hug and say goodbye. So oftentimes it doesn't
what's
even
the possible
feel real
justification for that?
Hiding their crimes, didn't want them to take pictures to show what they actually did to this baby.
They didn't want an Emmett Till moment.
Yes, we've seen it in several cases. That's the new blueprint. Hide the body, send you a bag of bones back like they did with Rasheen Carter, send you something that cut up, where we can justify the damage to the body versus people actually seeing what it looks like when you shoot a baby.
Imagine burying your 1-year-old child. For me, as a mama, I know it also has to be shock, just pure shock. You know, you get in a fender bender, your body goes into shock. Imagine you holding your baby, holding your 1-year-old precious, beautiful little baby, and a bullet goes into him. And what a bullet does to a little baby's body. And y'all want her to have a performative reaction that satisfies your requirements? I can't. Marquell Bridges is our guest. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
You know him, you trust him, and now the whole nation is taking notice. Talkers Magazine, the Bible of talk radio, has ranked Tavis Smiley number 14 on their prestigious Heavy 100 list. 100 voices, the most important in all of talk radio. Tavis has moved from number 45 to number 33 to number 16, and now he's in the top 15, right here on your station. His is one of the most trusted, credible, and reliable voices in broadcast media today. Straight, no chaser, always. Tavis brings you the conversations that matter, the newsmakers, the truth tellers, the voices that don't get heard anywhere else. Weekdays on this station. This is what it sounds like when your community has a seat at the table.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe. You're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Indeed, we do not, and we ask that you don't black down either. We have got to be plugged in, and I get it that people are feeling away. Somebody, Morris, said he was going to tune out of the chat because it was too sad, and I understand that. We're talking about baby Kohen Wiley, who was killed by Mississippi police, and specifically one specific officer, Hunter Foster. Marquell Bridges is my guest, a longtime activist there, and I wanted to get back to solutions for the Morrises of the world. And Dr. Melina Abdullah's in our YouTube chat. She says at a certain point we have to say, I don't care what the police say they did. And that's right. That's one of the things that we should have learned with George Floyd if we didn't learn it with Trayvon Martin. We don't believe the official story. Believe what the evidence and the data shows. Don't believe the official story. So, Marquell, let's get back to how we can help. Solutions. What are the demands? How can we help make these demands come about? And how can we be part of the solution?
So we need our people to choose in the spirit of the Montgomery bus boycott that lasted, we know, close to a year, where they walked and chose to go to different towns. We need people to actually choose and be conscious and intentional and purposely stay away from Walmart to affect their economic power so they can put pressure on the police and this mayor in this city to resolve this, we need constant pressure on the mayor and the chief and the police department. Both of them need to be fired. But we talked about a lot of things, and this is what's always point. And I agree with Dr. Molina's point. This would always resolves it for me. If you show us, neither side has to speculate. And when we were talking about digital warfare, I want people to be conscious of the longer they hold this tape with modern AI, what are they doing? We have to be really conscious of this digital warfare that's going on. And the AI we got on our smartphones is not the one that the government and the police have. They have way more capabilities, and you have to understand that. So if you're holding this video for months or a year and then you put out this false narrative, how can we believe you? Stop allowing the police to tell us what to see versus showing us right away. You know, if it was a shoplifting accusation, alleged shop, you could show us what they did in Walmart right now. Clear that up for everybody. If you say she tried to run into officers, you could release that tape and show us, and that doesn't hinder the investigation at all because you already made these public lies and public statements. Them, I mean the police department. So release what you said, release the transcript of the call that showed you had a reason to be there, and you wasn't just in the parking lot for this other call that had nothing to do with these women and these babies, and you just killed this black woman. Show us. But I know they want to cause division. I know they want to cause unrest to keep us distracted. But just show us and everything is resolved.
Yeah, and I feel like if there was any chance that car was driving towards those cops like they claim, that video would already be out.
Yes, it's alleged that the undershot, he wasn't even the one close by.
That there were other officers closer to the car.
Yeah, and never shot. The two black officers never shot. Another white officer never shot. So, you know, that's going to be the legality in being's job. You know, when you get in civil court and criminal court and they call all those officers to the stand, they're going to have to answer the question of, why did you choose not to fire your weapon? And if they be honest, they're going to say, because we wasn't in any danger and we didn't feel threatened by two women and a baby. So then Hunter is going to have to explain, how did you feel threatened? If nobody else in the situation shared your viewpoint of your perspective. And we know that it's against police policy to throw themselves in harm's way. And
as you said at the beginning of this conversation, he's a man with a history of racism so bad that his fellow police in Mississippi complained about his racial statements. It sounds to me like he was being what his name is, a hunter of black babies.
Exactly. I think it was intentional. I think it was purposeful. I think he saw an opportunity of what he thought was a free kill to kill some black people, and he took it.
Free kill.
And they used this same justification. I need my people to understand, just like the running away, just like the having weapons, just like the drugs, just like the criminalization, this new form of justification that they now figured out that gets them off is saying that your car is a weapon. They did it in Calvin Kane's case, and he didn't even know they were there. They jumped out on him. He just leaving his apartment complex. They did it with Davari Robinson. They've done it so many other times. And the need for the boycott of Walmart, as I said, another 65-year-old woman was brutalized in her parking lot. In their parking lot, there's a long history. So we need our people to come together in unity. That's the biggest key of what we need right now, is unity and solidarity.
Thank you so much, Marquell. I'm up against the clock here, but I really appreciate you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me on. Have a great day.
KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. Kelly Bryant in Michigan has been found competent to stand trial on 3 child abuse charges after police found 3 children living alone in filth in February of 2025. A judge agreed with the psychiatric's findings that Bryant, a black woman, is competent.
We'll see you Monday, August 24th for trial.
The Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates alone. It's the 4th straight time the Fed has kept rates steady. The decision marks the first with new Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh. President Trump is set to award the Medal of Honor. Major James Capers Jr. led his team through a deadly ambush in South Vietnam in 1967. Injured and bleeding, Capers got his 9-man team to a helicopter for evacuation after 4 days and nights of fighting. Get BIN News Now on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention Ram owners. Complete Recall 67A. Get $500 and a chance to win a getaway to Miami for 2 to see the final race of the season. Plus, meet Brendan Butterbean Queen. Learn more and schedule at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
New York Knicks owner James Dolan said his team has been invited to the White House by Trump to celebrate the Knicks NBA championship. Dolan and Trump have been friends for more than 30 years. No date has been confirmed for the Knicks' White House appearance. The more important question is, will Knicks players go with Dolan to the White House? There has been a lot of animosity between NBA players and Trump during his 2 terms as president. The last 5 NBA teams that won the championship while Trump was in office declined his invitation to come to the White House. The Golden State Warriors said no in 2017 and 2018. The Toronto Raptors said no in 2019. The Lakers declined in 2020. The Oklahoma City Thunder said no after winning last year's title. It will be interesting to see how Knicks players react if Dolan, who signs their paychecks, insists that they come with him to the White House. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So, we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for